Hi, I'm Dawn Morse, the founder of Core Elements Training. At Core Elements Training, we deliver a range of accredited sports massage qualifications and sports therapy-based CPD courses, one of which is clinical yoga. So yoga is an excellent modality to bring into the clinical environment, but it's also excellent for self-care as well. So today I'm going to take you through a standing, or primarily a standing based yoga sequence, but we will finish off with a few seated postures as well, just to help to lower the intensity back down afterwards. So yoga is excellent for developing full body flexibility and functional strength. But as with any type of exercise, make sure that you're breathing throughout and you don't feel pain. Discomfort is okay, or mild discomfort where you're still breathing is okay, but pain is always an indicator to reduce intensity. So if you feel pain in any of the postures, then make sure you reduce intensity. So you'll need a yoga mat. Today I've got 2 yoga mats, but that's just for teaching purposes. So 1 yoga mat will definitely suffice at home, along with a strap, if you've got one, and some yoga blocks as well. These products are Yoga Mad products, which you can get from Physique Management. But if you don't have a strap handy at the moment, then you can use a towel as well. I've popped a little loop into the bottom of the strap, which is sometimes useful, but you can always just leave your strap open too. And the blocks are useful for different levels of flexibility in helping to reduce intensity during the postures. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those to the side for the moment. Okay, so we're going to start off in Tadasana, which essentially, or mountain pose, which essentially is standing up tall and just centering yourself on the mat, ready for the sequence that's going to follow. So first of all, I'm bringing myself to the front of my mat, and I've either got my feet together or I've got my feet hip distance apart, whichever one feels most comfortable for you. Okay, then from here, you're going to lift your toes up and spread your toes out. Okay, so if they don't spread out very much, that's absolutely fine. We're still trying to send the signals from the brain down to those toes, so we get more movement around the toes. Okay, then from here, we're going to bring the body weight into the toes of the feet. We're going to move back slightly, keep those toes grounding down into the mat, and move back slightly so that you can feel the balls of the feet grounding down into the mat, and also the heels of the feet. So hopefully you can feel the whole flat of both feet grounding down into the mat. They're going to lift up through those inner ankles. So imagine drawing these ankles up towards the knee slightly. So we're now activating the muscles within the feet. We're going to draw the knees up towards the hips, so you're engaging these thighs, and you're going to roll the fleshy parts of the thighs slightly inwards. And if you're feeling like you're tucking that pelvis forward today and the stomach is slightly forward, then you're just going to draw it underneath you slightly. Then from here, we're going to lift up through the chest, and you're going to lengthen up through the crown of the head. And then roll those shoulders back and down. So you're lengthening downwards through those fingertips. If you're comfortable, you're just going to close your eyes for a moment, just as we take a couple of centering breaths. So you're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you draw that breath in, you're breathing into the stomach. So the stomach is opening and expanding. Then as you breathe out of the nose, you're closing the stomach and drawing that stomach back towards the spine. And again, take a long and deep inward breath. Again, drawing that breath into the stomach, stretching and opening. And then as you breathe out again, you're going to draw that stomach back towards the spine. This time, take a long and deep inward breath, again drawing the breath into the stomach. And as you breathe deeply out of the nose, you're going to draw up through the pelvic floor to engage those deep abdominal muscles, or the transverse abdominis. And you're also going to draw that belly button back towards the spine. So you're engaging the rectus abdominis at the front of the stomach here. Keeping those banders, or those stomach muscles, lightly engaged, This time you're going to take a deep breath in into the rib cage. You're stretching and opening through the rib cage. And as you breathe out to the nose, you're closing the rib cage deeply. And one more time, take a long and deep inward breath, really stretching and opening up through the chest, sideways, front and back. And as you breathe out, you can feel the rib cage close. And you can feel those stomach muscles again lightly engage. You're going to keep that rhythm with the breathing throughout the class. And try to keep a track on that breathing as well. Don't worry if it's, you're breathing in and out at the wrong time, as long as you're continuing to try to take long, deep breaths throughout the class. Okay, when you're ready, you're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to sweep these hands up, looking up towards the ceiling or forward, and then breathe out, take those hands wide and down. And again, take a deep breath in, sweeping up, looking up or forwards, and then breathe out, hands wide and down. And again, take a deep breath in, sweep up, so really stretching and opening up through the rib cage, and then breathe out, hands wide and down. This time we're going to take a deep breath in, we're going to sweep up. Then as we breathe out wide, we're going to bring these hands round and onto the thighs. We're going to roll down towards the mat, so you're going to roll that chin in towards the chest, roll the shoulders forward, upper back, middle back and lower back forward. As you go down, if you feel any discomfort in that lower back area, just going to soften through those knees. And you're just lowering down as far as these hamstrings are going to allow you to go on this first round. Then take a deep breath in here. And then as you breathe out, you're going to roll yourself again back up into that standing position. So you're pressing those feet down in towards the mat. You're lifting the spine section by section and taking those shoulders back and down. And again, take a deep breath in, sweep up, and then breathe out, hands wide and down. And lengthen up through the crown of the head. Roll the chin forwards, shoulders forwards, upper back, middle back, and lower back down, softening the knees whenever you need to, and just taking it as far as those hamstrings are going to allow you to go today. And again, take a deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, you're going to roll the spine, pressing the feet into the mat, lifting through those abdominal muscles, so lifting through the pelvic floor and drawing back through the belly button. And then take those shoulders back and down. And again, take a deep breath in, sweep up, looking forwards or up. And then breathe out, hands wide and down. Lengthen up through the crown of the head, roll the chin forwards, shoulders forwards, upper back, middle back and lower back down. Again, stopping whenever you need to. Good, then take a deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, we're trying to engage those leg muscles and engage the stomach as we roll back up into that standing position by grounding through the feet and drawing back through the belly button. Good. This time you're going to take a deep breath in, we're going to sweep up. Then we're going to take one hand onto the waist. Again, the feet can either be together or hip distance apart. Then as you breathe out, we're going into crescent moon. So we're reaching up through that top arm. Good, you're kicking the hips out towards the side, but both feet are grounding into the mat. Try not to drop that chest downwards. You're keeping that chest lifted and really reaching up through that top arm. Good. Then breathe in, press through the feet. Again, engage the stomach as you come back to center position and relax that hand down. And again, take a deep breath in, sweep up. Again, reach up, take one hand onto the hip and then over to the other side. So both feet grounding, hips kicking to one side and chest up. And again, either looking forwards or you can look up at that top hand, depending on how the neck's feeling today. Good, then come back to that center position and hands down. This time we're going to take a deep breath in, sweep up. Again, we're either going to roll down towards the mat or you're going to fold down. So if you're folding, you're coming into this forward fold and placing those hands wherever they fall, either onto the thighs, onto the shins or onto the mat. Good, then from here you're going to lengthen through the chest. So if the fingertips are on the mat, you're lengthening forwards, or hands onto the shins or onto the thigh. So we're just trying to come into that flat back position, helping to get some mobility around that pelvis area. Good. Then relax back down again over those legs. And then from here, again, pressing into the feet, squeezing through the stomach to support the spine. As we come back up into that standing position, shoulders back and down. Good, take a deep breath in, sweetheart. Good, again, this time, you're either going to bring one hand onto the hip as we go back into crescent moon, or you can either keep both arms extended or interlock through these thumbs as you come over. So both hands up might be too much, that's absolutely fine if it is, just keep one hand onto the hip. So what we want to feel is that strong stretch, possibly around the hip area and through the waist, and possibly around the shoulder. Press down through the feet as you come back to centre and relax. Good, then again, take a deep breath in, sweetheart. Lengthen, and then over to that other side. Again, one hand onto the hip, shoulder distance, or both arms extended and shoulder distance, or interlock. Good. Okay, then come back to that centre position and relax those hands down. Okay, we're coming back down towards the mat this time, either rolling down or using that forward fold again. So if you're folding forward, you're hinging at the hips, softening the knees if you need to, and relaxing these hands onto the mat this time. And to soften through those knees and take yourself down into that tabletop position. So with tabletop position, you've got the knees in line with the hips and these wrists in line with the shoulders. If it's uncomfortable with your wrists in this position, then you can come up onto the fists instead. So we're going to come into our cat-cow stretch. So you're going to draw the tailbone underneath you, draw that chin in towards the chest, and you're gently arching that spine up towards the ceiling, pressing into the hands and into the knees to assist you slightly. Good, then breathe in as you come back to tabletop, and then breathe out as you widen through the hips, stomach towards the mat, chest towards the mat, but those arms are straight. Good. Then again, come back up into that tabletop position, and then breathe out as you lift up into that into that angry cat stretch. Then breathe in back to table, and then breathe out into the cow variation. So widening through the hips, chest down, but arms straight, and head up. Good, then come back into this table position. Now from here, just briefly, we're going to come into thread the needle, or eye of the needle, which is a spinal rotation. So we're going to take that left arm through the right arm, taking that ear towards the mat and that shoulder towards the mat. Good, then breathe in as you come back to that centre position. And then breathe out as you come over to that other side, just lowering down as far as the body's going to allow you to go today. So just warming up through the spine in all directions here. And then one more time, taking that left arm through the right. Good. Trying to be mindful of what you're doing with the hips here and trying to keep these neutral. Then coming back to that centre position, and then taking that right arm through the left. Good. And then back to that centre position. Okay, so then from here again, we're going to open up these fingers as we place the hands into the mat. You're going to flick up through these toes behind you. You're going to lengthen the legs just for a moment, and you're going to walk these feet, softening these knees whenever you need to. So you're coming into that forward bend. Good, then from here, you're going to relax back down over those legs. Then you're going to roll yourself up into that standing position, taking these shoulders back and down. Okay, then from here, we're going to take a deep breath in as we sweep these arms up, and then breathe out. We're going to fold forward towards the mat. Good, then from here, onto the fingertips or hands onto the shins or onto the thighs as you lengthen forwards. Good, then from here, you're going to relax back down, soften through these knees and stride back into your table position. Relax those toes underneath you. Okay, then from here, we're going to lower down to the mat into our cobra stretch. So you're going to tuck these elbows in, lower the chest towards the mat. Then from here, you're sliding through, you're lengthening through the spine and rolling those shoulders back. Now listen to your back here. If you're engaging those spinal muscles, okay, then you should be able to take the hands off the mat and still maintain that position. So this is a back strengthening movement. Then lower back down towards the mat. From here, we're going to do a reverse press up onto the knees or onto the toes. And then we're going to flick up through those toes, lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling. You're going to lengthen those heels towards the mat. Now don't be focused on getting those heels down. It doesn't matter if those heels don't go down towards the mat, as long as you feel that stretch through the gastrocnemius, through the hamstrings. And you should also feel that stretch through the shoulder area as well. Fingers are nice and open, so you're really grounding those hands and trying to transfer the body weight from the arms into the legs. Okay, we're going to warm up for a moment by walking the dog. So you're softening those knees one at a time. Just tucking that chin lightly into the chest to help to lengthen through the back of the neck. Good, then look at that space in between the hands. Soften those knees when you need to, and you're going to walk these feet forwards back into that forward bend. So your knees can be soft here, that's absolutely fine. And then from here, we're going to hinge through the hips as we come up into that standing position again. Good, looking up or looking forwards. Then take those arms back down. So that's a modified version of a sun salutation. So we're going to do a couple more rounds with those. Stay with that lower intensity sun salutation if that's enough today. So I'm just going to demonstrate some different levels here. So when you're ready, you're going to take a deep breath in, sweep these hands up. And again, either roll down or fold down towards the mat. Good, take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest. And then relax back down again over those legs. From here, you're going to stride back either into the press-up position or into that table position. Fingers are nice and open to stretch those palms. And then from here, you're going to tuck those elbows in, lower the chest towards the mat, then lengthen the spine as you come through into that cobra stretch, which is strengthening the spine and stretching the abdominals and the front of the chest. Then relax back down. From here, reverse press up via the toes or via the knees. If you're reverse press up to the toes, you can lower to the knees first, or you can hinge straight from here into that downward dog position. So just be mindful of the feet. Your feet should be hip distance apart and really grounding those hands, taking the chest towards the thighs. Hold it here. If you need to, again, just to loosen off further, you can walk the dog again by softening those knees one at a time. Or if you're comfortable, you can hold those legs in that static position. And you're just focusing your gaze at a space on the wall in between your knees. Good, then look at that space in between the hands, deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, you're going to stride forwards towards the hands, bending your knees whenever you need to. Lengthen through the chest, and then relax back down again over those legs. Then either roll back up to standing. Remember, you can soften those knees here as you come back up into that standing position. And then relax those hands back down. Okay, we're going to do one more round of those. So when you're ready, you're going to take a deep breath in, sweep up, looking up or forwards, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest, and then relax back down again over those legs. Soften those knees, either stride back into your table position or into that press-up position. Tuck the elbows into the side of the body and slowly lower towards the mat. Then lengthen through the spine, roll the shoulders back and keep lengthening back through those legs. Good. Then relax back down. Then as you breathe out via the knees or via the toes, and again, elbows tucked in, strong outward breath, lift, and then hinge into your downward dog. Good. Holding it here, 3 more deep breaths. We're going to try and draw those shoulder blades away from the ears and down the back. Still engaging those abdominals. You're lengthening the back of the knees to the wall behind you and stretching through the heels of the feet. Then look at that space in between the hands. Lower to the knees or stride forwards. Lengthen through the chest and relax back down. Then strong inward breath as you come up, looking up or forwards. And then breathe out, hands down. Excellent. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit more mobile now and a little bit warmer as well. Okay, so from here, we're going to move into our triangle posture, which is in yoga words often referred to as triangle or Utthita Trikonasana. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our legs apart. So you've got roughly the length of one of your legs in between your feet, and your heels are in line with one another. You might want your blocks here as well, so if you've got some blocks, have them handy. So we're going to turn one foot out 90 degrees, but we're turning from the hip. So the heels are still in line with one another. You might be quite narrow at first, but don't be afraid to take the full length of one of your legs in between your feet. And this back foot, we're just turning again from the hip slightly and bringing that foot inwards. Then with the pelvis, we're turning it towards the long length of your mat. Okay, so your hips are facing forward and your chest is facing forward. You're pressing down into the feet, and as you do that, you should feel the muscles in the legs engage all the way in all directions. Lengthen through the chest and then open up through those arms. Okay, so nice deep breath in as you reach the head up towards the ceiling. And then as you breathe out, imagine you can only move the upper body, so legs stay completely still, and you're going to reach towards the wall. So we try to open up through the back here, reach towards the wall until that spine won't lengthen any further. Then you're going to take that arm, move it through at the shoulder joint and onto the shin. So it's quite nice with your blocks here. Rather than, you can either rest the fingertips or their hands onto the blocks or onto the shin. So you don't want to collapse the upper body by dropping down into the leg. So you want to keep that spine nice and engaged, and either resting the fingertips onto the stacked blocks together, or you can turn the blocks so that they're side on as well. Or if you need to today, then you can take them so they're in that tall position as well. And the other hand is either on the waist, here, lifting up that chest towards the ceiling, reaching up through the elbow, or you're going to extend that arm up towards the ceiling. So it doesn't matter how deeply you go into the stretch at first, as long as you can feel it working. So we're still pressing those or grounding those feet into the mat. We're still lifting those knees. So the legs are fully engaged here. And we're still drawing that belly button in towards the spine and lifting up through the pelvic floor to engage what we call in yoga the bandhas. Essentially, we're engaging those core muscles. You're looking forwards or up at that top thumb. Brilliant. Okay, then as you come out, if you're feeling it in your back, you can soften that knee slightly as you come back up into that centre position. Good. Then from here, we're going to move on to the other side. So you're going to just double check that the heels are still in line with one another. And then again, turning from the hip, turn that foot towards the top of the mat, turn the other foot in slightly and hips pointing forwards. Then lift through the chest, lengthen up through the crown of the head, and you're reaching through those arms. And deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you're sliding that upper body. So you're reaching, imagine reaching towards the wall. Keep reaching, reaching, reaching. And then take that hand, moving it through the shoulder joint. Get either towards the thigh, the shin, the ankle, or using those blocks at those different levels. And then shoulder towards the ceiling. Either keep that hand onto the waist, lifting up through the elbow, or reach up through that top arm, looking forwards or up at that top thumb. Good, so keep breathing here. Still engaging both legs. Really trying to relax into the posture. Yoga standing postures, you're trying to relax into them, but you're also staying engaged. Good, so you're staying engaged by grounding through the feet, continuing to lengthen through the crown of the head, and you're reaching up through this top arm. Good, and again, if you're feeling any discomfort in that back, soften the knee as you come up into that centre position. Good, and then bring those hands together. Okay, so we're just going to bring ourselves back to the front of the mat. Okay, soften those knees just to loosen off those legs if they felt a little bit tight in that posture. Okay, so we're going to do our sun salutation again, just to recenter the body. So you're going to take a deep breath in, sweep these arms up, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Good, and then take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest. Breathe out, stride back into your press up or your table position. Good, tuck those elbows into the side of the body as you lower. Lengthen through those toes and really stretch through the head, rolling those shoulders back. Good. Then relax back down. Reverse press up onto the knees or onto the toes. Good. And then hinging into your downward dog. Good. Okay, so fingers nice and open, hips nice and high, and really stretching through the back of those knees. Then look at that space in between the hands, either lower to the knees or stride, and alternate those legs as you're striding forward into that forward bend, then lengthen and lower. Good, then take a deep breath in, either roll up or fold back up into that standing position, and then take those hands down. Good. I'm just going to recap that triangle posture before we go into extended side angle. So again, from here, we're going to take those legs nice and wide. Good. And you're going to rotate at the hip. So one foot out, then kick that other foot in slightly, and then hips facing forward, chest forward. Open through those arms. So deep breath in. We're going to hold this posture for 4 deep breaths. So really lengthen up through the crown of the head. Then as you breathe out, you're sliding. So keep reaching through that hand. Then take that bottom hand to wherever it falls, using the blocks or the shin or the thigh. And then lift that chest as you take that top arm up towards the ceiling. But you're trying not to press into this hand that's on the floor or on your blocks or your leg. Good. Breathing in deeply and breathing out fully. Then strong inward breath. Remember, soften that knee if you need to as you're coming back out of that posture. And then rotate those feet round onto the other side. So check hips are facing forward, grounding into the feet, opening through those arms. So deep breath in, lift, and then breathe out and reach. Good. Then when that arm won't reach anymore, you're going to move through that shoulder joint. Shoulder towards the ceiling, engaging through those banders and reaching up towards the ceiling. Good. Breathing in fully and out deeply. And deep breath in as you hinge yourself back up into that center position, and then bring both feet forwards. Okay, so extended side angle is very similar to Trikonasana in a way, but it's got a bent knee. Okay, so same distance with those legs, roughly the length of one of your legs from your ankle to your hip between your feet. Heels in line with one another. And we're going to start on that right leg, and you're going to, from here, got those heels in line with one another, and again, kick that back heel out very slightly, and these hips are facing forwards. Okay, then from here, deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to soften this knee. Okay, so you're working to roughly keep the knee in line with the ankle, and you're only lowering down as far as the hips are allowing you to go today, but no lower than 90 degrees. So we're aiming for 90 degrees at that knee. Then you're going to take that forearm to the thigh. Again, don't collapse through the waist. Keep that chest high, shoulder high, and then you're going to reach this top arm up towards the ceiling. Again, either stay here if this is enough, or you could bring that hand onto the hip if that's too much. And then from here, we could also take that upper arm up in line with the ear. Okay, so deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, you're still pressing through both feet here. Both legs are fully engaged. You're going to come back up into that center position. Good, and open up through that leg. So we're going to rotate those feet round onto the other side. So hips facing forwards, chest forwards, and a nice tall spine. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, softening through the knee, lowering down, keep pressing that back foot down into the mat. And then forearm to the thigh, and either top hand into the waist, straight up to the ceiling, or working that upper arm in line with that ear. Good. Okay, then really focusing on holding this posture, but staying engaged. So you're trying to open up through this front hip and keep pressing into that back foot. Looking forwards or up at that top thumb. Good, then deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, coming up into that center position. Good, and open up through that leg. And then just walk these feet back together. Okay, so we're going to come back into that extended side angle, doing a slightly different variation in a moment. So we're going to reset with that vinyasana, or that sun salutation. So take a deep breath in as you sweep up, looking up or forwards, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Take a deep breath in, lengthen. Then from here, stride back into your press up or your table position. Good. Then from here, tucking those elbows into the side of the body, you're going to lower down to the mat. Then stretch that head forward, roll those shoulders back and lengthen through those feet. Good. Then relax back down. And again, reverse press up onto the knees or onto those toes. And then lifting into your downward dog. Good. So again, feel free in this posture, if it feels too strong to keep both legs straight, then do feel free to alternate those legs. Good, really trying to stretch through those palms and lift the hips high so those heels can lengthen lower. Then look at that space in between the hands and then stride forwards or walk forwards, taking as many steps as you need to back into that forward bend, lengthen and lower. Then roll yourself back up to standing or hinge back up into that standing position and take those hands down. Okay, so we're going to use the blocks this time for our extended side angle. So we're going to keep those handy, and again, take those legs nice and wide, length of one of your legs in between your feet. So you're going to externally rotate or roll this leg out, pointing towards the edge of the mat. And then tuck those back toes in slightly and hips forwards. Good. Then lifting through that chest and lengthening through those arms. Good. And then from here, you're going to soften through that knee. It's good with your yoga postures, if you're practicing them at home, it's quite nice to often do them twice, because the second time round, the body feels more comfortable. It's let go of some of that initial tension. Okay, so from here, I've taken my blocks inside my leg, and I'm just gently resting that hand onto the block. So I'm slightly lower down from the thigh now. So if you feel that you can go lower, you can use those different edges of the blocks to help to support you. So the short edge, tall edge, or blocks in that stacked position. But it's important with this posture to make sure you're keeping your chest up. So don't sacrifice being able to lift the chest up by going too low. And again, you can play with those different hand positions. Okay, hold that final position 4 breaths. Good, still engaging through the stomach. So try to relax the shoulders to draw those shoulder blades away from the ears. And then from here, keep that spine engaged as you come back to that center position, and then open up through that leg. Okay, we're going to move over onto that other side. Again, play with those different edges of the blocks. Each side is often slightly different when it comes to our strength and our flexibility. So deep breath in, draw the shoulders down, lengthen through the crown of the head. Then as you breathe out, soften, keep grounding that back leg, reach up and over. So really lengthen that top arm, whether it's up to the ceiling or over the head, and taking that bottom arm into your chosen intensity position. So it should feel a challenge in this posture because it's a really strong posture, working those legs quite hard. So it's strengthening and developing flexibility at the same time. But make sure you're still breathing and you're not holding your breath. Good. Then deep breath in, hinge back up into that center position, and then open up through those legs. Okay, from here, you're going to go into a wide angle forward bend, standing forward bend. So our heels are in line. I've got the blocks in between the legs now. So I'm going to take a deep breath in as I sweep these arms up towards the ceiling. Then as I breathe out, I'm still pressing through both feet as I fold forwards. And I'm lowering these hands onto the blocks, using those different edges for different levels. Or I'm taking those fingertips or flat of the hands down to the mat. I'm widening the hips as I gently press my hands into the blocks or into the mat as I lower. So I'm trying to keep both feet grounded in this posture, and I'm lengthening through the back of my knees, and I'm widening through the hips as I lower down. I'm tucking that chin in towards the chest also to help to lengthen further through the back of the neck. Good. Then take a deep breath in as you lengthen that chest forwards, and breathe out, hands onto the hips. Then soften these knees as you then press into the feet and hinge yourself back up into that center position. Good. And then shuffle these feet back towards one another. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to recenter doing that vinyasa. That helps to keep the energy levels up, and it helps to keep that body temperature up. Okay, before we go into a couple of balances. So you're going to take a deep breath in as you sweep those arms up, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Good, take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest, and then breathe out, stride back into that press up or that table position. Tuck the elbows in as you lower down towards the mat, Lengthen through those toes and roll back through the shoulders, lifting the chest. Remember, we're trying to engage the spine here by not pressing too much through those hands. Good, then relax back down. Strong outward breath as you reverse press up onto the knees or onto the toes and lift back into that downward dog. Good, abdominals engaged, chin tucked in, and really grounding through those arms, pressing into the hands and lengthening into the heels of the feet. Then look at that space in between the hands and just stride forwards and then lengthen through the chest as you relax back down again over those legs. Then strong inward breath as you come up and then outward breath. Bring those hands down. Okay, so before we go into that balance first, we're just going to open up through the front of the hips and with our low lunge, because we're going to work different ways of coming into the balance. Okay, so we're going to lower ourselves down towards the mat, and you're going to stride back on that back leg. Good. And you're going to then lower that knee down to the mat. You're going to sink forwards into that low lunge. Good. So you're dropping that back hip forwards. This knee can come slightly over the toes. That's fine if it does so, as long as it doesn't feel knee pain, because we're then stretching that soleus and really lengthening through the Achilles tendon as well. Either keep those fingertips down or hands down onto the mat, or bring that hand onto the thigh. But really open up through that back hip. Good, then bring these hands back down towards the mat. You're going to lift up through those back toes and just see if you can stretch through that back leg. Good, so really pressing into that back heel. Good, then from here, soften that knee and come forwards again into that forward bend. You're bringing those hands onto the shins or onto the thighs as you stretch forwards. Good, and relax back down again, softening those knees if you need to. Now we're going to stride back on the other leg now, so big stride. Lower that knee towards the mat, relax the foot and lift either up onto those fingertips, stay onto the flat of the hands if that's enough, or come up onto that knee. So again, really trying to open up through the front of the hip here. So lift that chest and relax those shoulders down. Good. Then we're going to bring those hands back down towards the mat. Flick up through those back toes and really stretch that back leg. Good. Okay, that knee's not completely straight, that's fine, as long as you can feel that stretch. Then push off that back foot, and you're coming forwards again into the forward bend. Good. So if the knees are slightly bent here, then bring those hands up so you can stretch through the spine, lengthening and lowering. Good. And then again, lower down. Okay, so you're going to stride that first leg back again and lower down onto that back knee. Sink forwards into that low lunge, lift the chest. Good, again, staying here or onto that thigh. Okay, from here, we're going to transition into the lunge variation of Warrior One. So the lunge variation of Warrior One is quite a nice adaptation for helping to deepen the stretch in the hip flexor area. Good, so from here, you're going to bring those hands back down. Okay, you're going to bring that foot slightly forwards if you need to, so that the knee's in line with the ankle. Flick up through those back toes, so you're now in that high lunge position. But you want to be able to really press into this front foot and stretch through that back leg. Good, if it's enough today to stay here, then do so. Otherwise, you're going to bring the hands onto the thigh and try and lift the chest. Good, and then the hands can come either onto the hips, down to the side of the body, into prayer position, or you're then going to extend those arms up towards the ceiling. So this is quite challenging once you start holding it for a few breaths. Okay, so you're trying not to drop below 90 degrees, but really engaging that front leg, really stretching through that back leg. And shoulders relaxed. Good, sweep these hands forwards. Good. Push off that back leg, stride forwards, and just give those legs a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, take a deep breath in. We're going to roll the spine, so we'll roll the spine section by section, all the way up into that standing position. And take those shoulders back and down. Okay, then take a deep breath in, sweep these arms up, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Good, take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest, relax down. This time, stride back on the other leg, lower down, good. Sink forwards first, open up the front of the hip. Then come back to 90 degrees. Okay, fingertips onto the mat, extend that back leg, so really stretching. So if you're trying to get that back heel to touch the wall behind you. Then hands onto the thigh. Good. Chest up, shoulders down. Or lower those fingertips down towards the mat. Banders or abdominals engaged. Again, either bring those hands into that prayer position or extend those arms up towards the ceiling. Good, but shoulders down. Good, holding and breathing. Excellent. Okay, sweep these arms forward, push off that back leg, come forward, and just soften those knees one at a time. Okay, then from here, you're going to roll again that spine, section by section, up into that standing position. Okay, so we're going to come into our balance. Balance we're going to do today is Warrior 3. Okay, so Virabhadrasana 3. So we're going to use our blocks again, but depending, again, remember you can use them on those different angles. So either tall position, halfway down, or stacked, and then lower still with just using one block. Okay, so I'm going to start here. So you're going to come into the forward bend, so you're going to engage as you lower down. So deep breath in, nice tall position, hinge through the hips as you lower down, and you're pressing these legs into the mat as you lower. Then from here, gently rest the hands onto the block and stretch the chest forwards. Okay, so eyes looking slightly forwards, or think about the neck. You can look down at the floor as well if that feels more comfortable for you. Then from here, you're going to soften one leg, and then you're going to imagine pressing that leg out behind you. If it feels better for you to flex the foot or to dorsiflex the foot, then and press the sole of the foot into the wall behind you, then do so. Or if it feels more comfortable with toes, then do so also. Okay, pelvis staying facing the mat. Okay, then from here, you're working on bringing this back ankle in line with the hip. It's quite difficult to see, so if you've got a mirror at home, then brilliant. And then bring that leg back in and relax down. Okay, then other side. Okay, so again, coming into it. So lengthen that chest forward. Engage, really press that supporting leg into the mat. Soften the knee and push out behind you. Okay, so you're working through the glutes here, working those hamstrings quite hard. You're trying not to allow your upper body to collapse down. You'll keep stretching through the crown of the head also. Good. And soften that leg and lower back down. So that might be enough at first. Then eventually we're going to work on lifting those arms off the blocks as well. So stay with that level if this is enough, otherwise taking a deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, you're going to fold forward. Keep engaging these legs. Lower down slightly if you feel you can. Then from here, lengthen. And then, other side. Okay, soften that knee and stretch that leg out behind you. Then from here, lift onto the fingertips if you feel you can. You can then take one hand onto the hip and then the other hand onto the hip. Really keep grounding through that supporting leg. Stretch those arms out behind you. Stomach engaged. And then From here, come back up into that centre position. So I just started out that wobble there. So I'm on 2 mats, so it's slightly a bit more of a challenge there to balance. So by all means, if your mat is quite spongy, then do this on the floor instead. Okay, so we're going to go on to that other leg. From here, you're going to open up your toes. You've got that nice big base to press into. That makes it slightly easier with your balance. Then as you're folding forward, again, nice tall spine, hinge through the hips, lower down. Keep lengthening through that spine. Keep pressing into that supporting leg. Stretch that leg out behind you. Really engage that lengthening leg. And either one hand down, both hands down. Good. Hands onto the hips. Or stretch those arms out behind you. Keep grounding through the foot, stretching through that back leg. And if you don't wobble out of it, then from here, bring those hands back down, bring that leg back in, and then lower to the mat. Okay, and then from here, we're going to roll ourselves again back up into that standing position. And shoulders back and down. Okay, so that's again a really nice strong balance, great for proprioception, great for balance, but also you should feel that strengthening again of the back, glutes, hamstrings as well. Okay, so we're going to lower down to the mat now, so we're going to take a deep breath in, sweep those arms up towards the ceiling, and then breathe out, fold forwards. Again, take a deep breath in, lengthen through the chest, and then lower back down, soften those knees, and then from here, come into that crouch position, and then lengthen those legs out in front of you. Okay, so we're going to come into our seated forward bend first. Now, ideally, we are looking towards having flexibility 90 degrees at least, so that we can sit with our legs out straight in front of us, shoulders in line with the hips, and the hands gently rest onto the floor. But if you're rounded in this position and can't sit up tall, then sit onto a block, because then that's going to help you to get the space that you need in order to help to work towards hinging at the hips into that forward bend position. The other thing that we're going to use here that will be useful is the strap. So again, it doesn't matter if you can't touch the toes at first, we're working towards that, but we just want to feel that stretch in the hamstrings, and we want to be able to relax through the shoulders. So we're going to take a deep breath in. The feet can be slightly apart as well, if you prefer, so hip distance apart. So take a deep breath in, reach those arms up towards the ceiling. And if you're using that strap, before you do that, bring the strap around the feet, deep breath in, reach up, and fold forwards. Okay, so you're trying to keep that chest up. Then from here, you're taking hold of the strap so that those arms can relax. You're not pulling on the strap, and instead you're trying to lengthen through the chest or lengthen through the crown of the head. So whichever works for you, either keep lengthening through the crown of the head or stretching that chest forwards so that this upper body is folding forwards over these thighs. And you're feeling that stretch in the hamstrings, and quite often you might feel it around the calf area as well. Good. So sometimes even if you can touch the feet, it's quite nice to use the strap just to relax those hands. Good, and breathe in, come back up into that centre position. So we're sitting those seated postures slightly longer. So ideally, we want to stay here, repeat it 2 to 3 times, and stay here for around about 15 to 30 seconds, or even 90 seconds if it feels comfortable. First one normally feels a bit more uncomfortable, so deep breath in, lift again, and then as you breathe out, you're hinging through the hips, lengthening those arms forwards, and then using the strap or relaxing those hands onto the feet. Don't worry too much about the position of the feet at first. Once you get deeper into that stretch, then you can work on keeping those toes up towards the ceiling. Good, again, keep that breath continuous and still breathing in while squeezing those stomach muscles. And as you engage the stomach, that helps to release tension further in the back. Good. And breathe in, come back up into that seated position. Now we're going to do our single leg seated forward fold. And we're going to put a rotation into it, which is really nice for helping to open up those deep lower back area, or that deep lower back area. So we're going to take one leg out to the side. Now if that leg doesn't go all the way down to the mat, then pop a block underneath. Okay, hips are facing forwards. You're going to take a deep breath in again, sweep these arms up towards the ceiling, and then breathe out, fold forwards. So again, if these hands aren't near the feet at first, then use the strap here. And we're lengthening again, crown of the head towards the big toe. So just focus either at the tip of the nose or a space on that shin in front of you. Good, working towards that straight leg. But if that knee is slightly bent and you still feel that nice stretch at the back of the leg, then that's the posture achieved today. Good. Then from here, so you should hopefully feel more of a stretch in that deep lower back area. Then we're going to move into our rotation. So I'm just popping to the side. Good. And then from here, we're going to keep one hand onto the leg, take the other hand into the small of the back. You're lifting that shoulder towards the ceiling. This might be enough. Good. Or if it's comfortable today, then going to reach that arm up towards the ceiling. Good. Again, still keeping that chest up. And if it's still comfortable, then you're going to work towards reaching that arm towards the wall in front of you. Good. And this helps to get into those deeper lower back muscles quite nicely. Again, staying here from anywhere between 4 to 6 breaths, or even longer if it's comfortable. Good. Then deep breath in, come back up into that centre position, and then lift that leg as you come back up. Before we move on to the other side, we're going to go into a spinal rotation. Good. So you've got that knee bent. Again, you could be sat onto your block if you feel you're slightly rounded in that lower back area. So then lengthen up through the spine, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to hug that leg and then look over that opposite shoulder. It's that nice spinal twist. Good. So just to show from that side position. Good. So lengthening through the spine. You want a really tall spine to be able to rotate more effectively. Good. Then breathe in, come back to that centre position. Again, lengthen those legs back out in front of you, and then just check roughly, ballpark figure, that those feet are in line with one another. Then from here, we're going to soften the other leg now and relax that knee out to the side. So again, from here, if that knee's not going all the way down to the mat, then use a block just underneath that knee. Yeah, then take a deep breath in as we sweep those arms up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, you're going to fold forward. So again, lengthening through the crown of the head, resisting that urge to pull on the strap or to pull with those arms onto the foot. These arms should just be relaxing so that the shoulders can relax. Good, breathing in deeply. And breathing out fully. Then from here, we're going to take the hand onto the waist, lift the shoulder towards the ceiling, lift the chest towards the ceiling. Stay here if this is enough. Or you're going to reach that arm up towards the ceiling, and then move that arm towards the wall in front of you. Again, stay with the level which is more comfortable for you. So you want to feel that lengthening, but not feel discomfort. Good. And take a deep breath in, hinge yourself back up into that center position. And then from here, you're going to lift that knee up. Slight gap between that foot and that thigh. Nice tall spine, so lift up tall first. And then as you breathe out, you're going to rotate into that hip. So you're looking over that opposite shoulder. Good. Then breathe in as you come back to that center position and lengthen those legs out in front of you. And now we lower down into Shavasana. Okay, so ideally, if you've got time, spend about 5 minutes just relaxing in Shavasana. If you don't have time, then even 1 minute or 5 or 10 breaths is a great way just to finish off your yoga sequence. So Shavasana, otherwise known as corpse pose, you're going to lower yourself, bend your knees if you need to, lower yourself down to the mat. Take each ankle out to each side of the mat and each elbow out to each side of the mat so that the hips and the shoulders can really relax. And just tucking that chin in slightly so that you can lengthen through the back of the neck. And then focus on that breathing. So let go of those bandhas again now, or that engagement in the stomach. Good, and you're going to breathe into the stomach. So breathing in through the nose, expanding and lifting the stomach on that inward breath. And then as you breathe out slowly and deeply, the stomach then relaxes back down towards the spine. Again, breathing in fully and deeply into the stomach. Try to lengthen the breath. And slowly breathing out deeply. So without forcing the breath, you're trying to make each inward breath very slightly longer than the last. And each outward breath slightly longer and deeper than the last. And then once you've finished taking those relaxing breaths and allowing the body to rest after that yoga sequence, then from here, you're going to bring those feet back to the mat, bring those knees into the chest, bring those hands around the shins, and then just gently rock from side to side to reawaken the spine. And then from here, just roll yourself over onto one side as you then slowly bring yourself back up into a comfortable seated position. Okay, and thank you for today, and I hope you enjoyed that standing posture yoga sequence. Thank you, and namaste.